Stop what you're doing and listen closely, because what I'm about to share is being described as one of the most serious internal Republican break moments in years. Reports suggest this didn't start with a TV interview, or a rally, or a public argument. It started behind a closed door early this morning, and within hours, Washington looked like it was watching a party crack from the inside. Sources indicate that at 7:43 a.m., several top Republican Senate leaders walked into Mitch McConnell's office for what was expected to be a normal leadership meeting. But they did not come out acting like it was normal. They left 47 minutes later, and by late morning, analysts believe the Republican Party was facing its biggest internal blowup since the era of major political scandals decades ago. And here's the key point. This is not mainly about policy. It's not about who supports which bill. It's about something deeper, senior Republicans reportedly deciding that Donald Trump is becoming impossible to manage, impossible to defend, and maybe even impossible to control. And what set this off? According to multiple reports and accounts circulating among insiders, it was a chain of events that left even longtime Trump allies furious. If you want to stay ahead of what happens next, subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because the next few days could decide whether Republicans stay together or split into something nobody can put back. Now, here's what many people are not talking about yet. Sources inside the Senate Republican Conference say that the crisis began overnight. Around 2:17 a.m., Trump reportedly placed a call to the Senate's top Republican leader and demanded a fast vote on a proposal he described as an emergency powers expansion. And according to the accounts being shared, it wasn't a request, it was pressure. The message, as described by sources, was basically, do this immediately or face political punishment. Reports suggest Trump warned that if Republicans in the Senate didn't move fast, he would support primary challengers against them. He would go into their states, campaign against them, and treat them like enemies. Then, around 6:30 a.m., something even more explosive reportedly began spreading among senior Republicans. Leaked audio. Sources indicate it was a recording of Trump in a private moment saying words close to, "I don't need the Senate. These people work for me." Now, to be clear, we cannot independently confirm the full context of that audio from here, but multiple sources suggest the reaction inside the GOP wasn't fear, it was anger. Because to many Republican senators, especially those who care about Senate power, this didn't sound like a strong leader. It sounded like someone saying the Senate doesn't matter. And that brings us to 7:43 a.m., when the emergency meeting was reportedly called. According to accounts from people familiar with what happened, the meeting included McConnell and several other top Senate Republicans, names like John Thune, John Barrasso, and John Cornyn. They were in that room for 47 minutes. And what they decided, sources suggest, may become the most serious internal pushback Trump has faced from his own party at the Senate leadership level. To understand why this moment matters, you have to understand how Trump has held Senate Republicans in line for years. It's not just ideology. It's not just policy. A lot of it has been about one thing: fear. Political fear can be a powerful weapon, and analysts believe Trump has used it for years by making examples out of people. Not everyone gets punished, but enough people do that others learn to stay quiet. Let me remind you of 3 moments that every Republican senator remembers. Back in 2020, Senator Mitt Romney voted to convict Trump during the first impeachment trial. Trump's public response was harsh and immediate. Romney faced intense backlash, including from his own state party. And he reportedly pointed to the past. Romney, Cassidy, others, people who resisted and paid the price. And that's when McConnell reportedly leaned forward and said something that may define this moment. According to sources, McConnell's argument was basically, Trump is going to attack them anyway. The only question is whether they go down defending one man or defending the Senate as an institution. And if they don't draw a line now, there may not be a strong Senate left to protect later. Then John Cornyn reportedly added the brutal political truth. He has seen trouble in polling, and voters want stability. They don't want to hear senators defending wild threats or chaos. They want basic governance. And then came the part that matters most. Sources indicate McConnell didn't just suggest a symbolic statement. He reportedly laid out a real plan. A draft letter to the White House stating clearly the Senate will not rush an emergency powers expansion, a warning that leadership will not stand beside Trump on the campaign trail if the foreign policy messaging keeps escalating. And a promise that if Trump backs primary challengers against sitting Republican senators, Senate leadership would defend incumbents using major party resources. Then, according to sources, McConnell asked the question that forced everyone to choose. Are you with me? Thune reportedly said yes right away. Cornyn reportedly said yes. Barrasso reportedly stayed silent. Long enough that the silence itself felt like an answer. One source described it as the longest half-minute in the room. Then Barrasso reportedly said, "You're asking me to end my career." And McConnell reportedly replied, "I'm asking you to do your job." And then Barrasso reportedly said yes. 4 top Republicans, 4 commitments. Sources suggest that's the moment the structure that held the party together under Trump started to crack. And after that, everything moved fast. Reports suggest that by around 9:15 a.m., McConnell began calling other senior Republican senators, one by one, asking for commitments. Some names were expected: Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. But then came 2 surprises, according to sources briefed on the calls: Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio. And this is where the story turns into a true political shock, because Graham has been one of Trump's loudest defenders for years. He has defended Trump through investigations, indictments, and controversies. He has been seen close to Trump personally. So for him to break, analysts believe, is not just a ripple. It's an earthquake inside the party. Sources close to that situation suggest Graham told colleagues something like this: he defended a lot, but he won't defend threats toward allied territory. He won't defend tearing down Senate authority, and he won't defend attacking senators as traitors just for disagreement. According to these sources, Graham believed a line had been crossed. By around 10:47 a.m., sources indicate a formal letter was drafted, several pages, legal tone, constitutional framing. And one key line, according to people who claim they've seen it, says they can no longer support behavior that threatens constitutional order and weakens the Senate's role. By noon, reports suggest a dozen Republican senators were ready to sign. Then Trump reportedly found out. Sources say a message reached him warning that McConnell and others were preparing to go public opposing the emergency powers push. And accounts circulating among staff suggest Trump reacted in rage, using harsh language, calling them traitors, and immediately moving to lock down loyalists. Then, according to someone briefed on the calls, Trump phoned Lindsey Graham directly. The call reportedly lasted less than 2 minutes. The words reported are chilling. Trump allegedly told Graham he was finished. And Graham allegedly replied, in effect, "Then so be it." Trump reportedly called Rubio next, warning him he would destroy him. But Rubio, according to the same general accounts, responded that Trump was destroying himself, and Trump reportedly tried calling McConnell multiple times. McConnell reportedly did not answer. By early afternoon, the split reportedly became visible. House Republicans released statements backing Trump. Senate leadership stayed quiet. Reporters noticed immediately. And then later, the letter leaked, apparently on purpose. Major outlets, according to reports, received copies, confirmed names, and published the text. The political world got the message. This was no longer private disagreement. This was open rebellion. But the most important part may be what was reportedly prepared behind the scenes after the letter went public. Sources indicate Senate Republican leadership has discussed a 3-step plan if Trump retaliates. Step 1, if Trump attacks publicly, more senators join the statement, and leadership holds a press conference stressing they serve the Constitution, not a person. Reports suggest insiders think this is very likely. Step 2, if Trump starts funding primary challengers, leadership-backed groups could commit huge money to defend incumbents while cutting off challengers. Donors could be encouraged to support the Senate side. Analysts believe this is also possible. Step 3, And this is the most extreme scenario. If Trump keeps escalating, Senate Republicans could move forward with a formal effort to limit emergency powers, potentially with Democratic support. Some even discuss possible censure-type actions depending on events. One senator, according to a reported quote shared privately, said they have planned for every scenario. And if Trump wants a fight, they're ready. Now here's the twist that changes how you should read the next phase. While Republicans were in public chaos, Senate Democrats reportedly held their own closed-door meeting. And sources suggest Chuck Schumer faced a major choice. Option 1. Go on offense, attack Trump and Republicans together, and run campaign ads saying that GOP is unfit to govern. Option 2. Say less publicly and quietly let Republicans split on their own so Trump can't claim Democrats are the enemy and pull Republicans back together. Reports suggest Democrats chose option 2, and that may be smart. Because if Democrats stay quiet, the story becomes Trump versus Republicans without an outside enemy to unite them. Sources indicate Democratic leaders advised allies. No victory laps, no cheering on cable news, no loud celebration. Instead, behind the scenes, they signaled they would quietly help if Republicans push limits on emergency powers. And Republican insiders reportedly noticed something surprising. Without Democrats attacking, the cracks inside the GOP got wider. Then came Wednesday evening. Reports suggest Trump posted a flood of angry messages online, calling Republicans names, promising primaries, claiming leadership is a deep state, and using all-caps fury. Soon after, the first major primary paperwork was reportedly filed, aimed at Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. Graham's response to reporters, according to accounts, was short, "Bring it on." Conservative media reportedly split in real time. Some defended Trump fully. Others expressed concern about foreign policy talk. Some said the Senate is finally showing backbone. And then donors reacted. Reports suggest major Republican donors issued careful statements about supporting constitutional stability and serious governance. Analysts read that as code for, "We're backing the Senate, not the chaos." By late night, sources indicate the number of Republican senators publicly aligned with the letter reached around 17, with more privately supportive. And the magic number people were watching? Because if 18 Republicans stand firm, along with Democrats, Trump's emergency powers push could be blocked. But overnight, something else happened that may matter even more. The Senate has real powers, votes, confirmations, budgets. For years, many believe the Senate gave up power because individual senators didn't want personal risk. But now, sources suggest they may be taking it back. So what happens next? Here are 3 possible paths analysts are discussing based on what insiders are saying. Path 1, Trump pulls back. He tones down rhetoric, drops the emergency push, and declares victory anyway. Probability. Some analysts say it's possible, but not the most likely. Path 2, a long standoff. Trump keeps attacking, but doesn't go all in on primaries. Senate leadership holds its line, but doesn't escalate to a major constitutional showdown. The party stays split, slowly, through election season. Many insiders think this is the most likely short-term outcome. Path 3, total break. Trump launches major primary challenges. Senate Republicans work with Democrats to limit emergency power. The party splits openly, and the election becomes a disaster for Republicans. Not the most likely today, but experts say it's not impossible. And several sources claim the current standoff may slowly drift toward the third path, because once trust is broken, it usually doesn't heal quickly. So here's the bottom line. This fight is not truly about Greenland. It's not truly about tariffs. It's not about a single policy argument. It's about control. Trump wants total authority over the Republican Party, and Senate leadership, at least based on these reports, just said a no. And that a no could change American politics. But here's what should worry everyone, no matter their party. When strong political figures feel cornered, they often escalate. And Trump has not faced a revolt like this from inside his own party at this level. So what happens if he turns that fury not toward Democrats, but toward Republicans? Can the Republican Party survive that kind of internal war? And if it can't, what happens to the country when one of its major parties starts breaking in public? Subscribe, because the next 48 to 72 hours could decide everything, and the next move may already be in motion. But the real question is this: what if the Senate's a no is only the beginning, and the next step is something neither side can take back?